Everybody, this is Richard, and welcome back to Gaunt Marches sessions. This one is called The Narrow Road. And with me, I've got four great players. We have a fifth who may be joining us soon, and we hope David will be able to jump in. But I'm going to let them start by introducing their characters. I'm going to kind of reverse from across my screen, and we will start with Alex. Alex, would you introduce us to your character?
Hi, yes, I am playing Nurk Nightwind, kobold fighter. Nurk is his real name, Nightwind is the cool adventurer name he gave himself when he left the caves. That's sort of his thing. He left the caves where the kobolds live to seek glory and adventure. I guess the only other, unique thing, really, to mention is his signature weapon is a rapier made out of bone, treated in such a way as to be, really flexible and strong like metal would be. And
Nice.
It's got, a bunch of intricate carvings on it.
Nice, nice. And the caves are kind of up in the forest to the north, and you have, in the winters there, you had a strange freak blizzard where you met a mage named White Raven. Brian, could you introduce us to White Raven?
Yes, so White Raven, I think, was born in somewhere around Goatbridge, but as a child had white eyes and other strange features that were kind of an ill omen, and was exiled to the north to basically to die in the cold, but was taken in by a tribe that is much like her, and learned to harness the powers of the cold winter. So has lived most of her life outside of the main civilization, but recently has ventured back into the south, and there's rumors of undead, and the sort of the undead are an unnatural break in the cycle of life and death, and so she sees them as something that needs to be eradicated to protect the natural cycle of the world. So I think on her way to the south, she had crossed paths with Nurk Nightwind.
Nice, nice. All right. And White Raven, you also know a priest named Lenore. Or wait, that's David's character. Let's move over and introduce Davi. Davi, tell us about, or Patrick, tell us about Davi.
All right, Davi's a elementalist, and he learned from a young age that he could speak with elemental spirits. Unfortunately, he always used them for nefarious reasons, to get over on people. Anyway, to make a few coin, so he can spend it frivolously on drinks and fun. Did some time in prison for crossing the wrong people. Still kind of living that life even after he got out of prison. But one thing the spirits always told him was to, fight against what's unnatural. So he has earned some coin doing that, and some may call him a hero, but most don't. He's got a reputation that precedes him. He's got wild hair. He's got braids that kind of stick out all over the place. Kind of like old school Coolio, just braids all over the place. And yeah, so he pretty much travels around just trying to make some coin and not get thrown back in prison. He carries around some marbles that are full of hot air. He's never told anybody where he got them, but everybody's pretty much sure he stole them from somebody. But they're pretty dangerous for anybody to handle. He doesn't show them off or use them very often, we should say.
let's move over and introduce Ratch, the Theranthrope. Jennifer, would you tell us about Ratch?
Yeah, so Ratch is kind of like, she's this demi-human mutt. She's got a little bit of you know, elf, dwarf, human, halfling. She's got a little bit of everything. And she's just kind of been, ever since a kid, on the streets, on the road, not really, no home, kind of part of, you know, passed around from place to place with different groups just to keep herself safe. And then one day she, you know, she's just like looking for some food or something just to get by for the next day, and she finds this ancient looking whip, and it chooses her. And after she bonds with this whip, she is able to transform into this strange creature that is like part dog, part rat, part crow, and part raccoon. Just this kind of mangy creature, but she's okay with that. And so she's still, you know, doing what she can to get by, but she's trying to use the powers that she has to protect people, because maybe then, you know, she can, you know, have friends and people can love her or whatever, you know, that sort of thing.
Ratch, it's your whip that allows you to change your shape, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
Because I know you have one. You know one method of changing your shape.
Yeah.
And in Ratch's mind, it relies on the Ratch tail, correct?
Right.
Okay. And so you are a shape changer. And finally, we have the local priest of the death cult, by which we mean the cult that ensures that people pass. If I understand correctly, Lenore, you mean the cult that sort of helps people pass gently and calmly into the afterlife without coming back as undead beings.
Yeah, definitely. That's maybe not the whole church does that, but at least her little sect of it, much kinder than maybe the wider death cult out there.
Right. Or, you know, that's your understanding of what the death god wants.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, awesome.
And yeah, I think she's kind of a like younger, kind of newer at this. Like she might not be, you know, this might be like maybe her first or second outing even.
Okay. And is Lenore based in a temple inside Goatbridge, or is Lenore sort of a wanderer, or some kind of combination?
Maybe I think it'd be more fun. Maybe she's like a wanderer. She's trying to earn her, you know, her stripes, as it were, to get, you know, her own kind of hub somewhere.
Nice. Okay.
Maybe she has to like. Say.
I think, David, you cut out for a second there. Could you repeat what you just said, or it may just be my connection? But...
Cut out for me too.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Hold on. Yeah, I was saying she might have. There might be like a certain number of souls she has to shepherd through.
Okay.
Before she's actually allowed something.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
So that's why she's wandering around trying to find people that are dying and help them along.
All right.
Hey, David, I'm thinking that this sort of winter goddess that White Raven follows may be sort of a distantly related to a death god. I mean, winter and death being kind of closely related, so there could be some overlap there. I don't know if we want to have that in our. I feel like I would be receptive to your teachings if we'd crossed paths in the past.
Oh yeah, that sounds awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Maybe at least from Lenore's perspective, it's just another interpretation.
Cool. All right. White Raven, are people telling you your deity is just another interpretation? Is that how do you respond to that?
I think this deity is probably an old god that most in like Goatbridge and other civilizations kind of discount as being like just spirit worship or something. But someone like Lenore who really truly understands the core beliefs might be able to recognize that these are almost like two faces of the same deity.
Okay, cool. All right. I think I'd like, Ratch, when you're in Goatbridge, where do you sleep? I'm assuming you have
wherever's warm. Wherever's warm.
Well, right this time of year, everything is warm.
Oh, well, probably in a tree on the outskirts. Just climb up the tree and just kind of cuddle up there with the branches.
Awesome. So besides Ratch, does anyone else not stay at the inn?
I think White Raven, at least initially, would be most comfortable in a cave or something like that.
Right. In a flatter, as you get to sort of a flatter area, away from the swamp with its kind of weird dunes, and away from the forest with its kind of rolling hills, what makes you feel most comfortable, White Raven? Like most like you've sort of holed up in a cave? Like the abandoned house at the edge of town type thing, or
Yeah, I think maybe there's like a old stone collapsed building that she's made a home inside of.
Okay, awesome.
I don't stay at the end either because they won't let me stay there.
Where do you end up staying, Davi?
I don't know. Whoever will take me in, probably some unsavory characters that, recognize that I kind of rolled along with their type before. Those are my people.
Oh, nice. Okay. Let's call it a house at the edge of town type thing. Nurk?
Yeah, as long as it's warm, which this time of year is always, I think Nurk prefers to actually sleep out in the open, because he wants something that's like not the oppressive closeness of the caves. So, and I think he changes where he sleeps at any given night.
Okay.
But just around, in town, outskirts of town, wherever.
Nice. Okay. Lenore, what about you? It's hard to say the weather's pleasant, but when it's this warm, being inside may actually be less pleasant.
Yeah, I think she might end up being the odd one out and actually be in the inn.
Okay. Awesome. So I'd like to do a quick scene, sort of at the edge of town. And I think it's this quick scene. It's night, and it's the first night of the fasting season, which goes, and it's called a season, but it actually only goes like the essential parts of it only go 3 days. But for those of you who sleep outside town. I'd like each of you to give me one thing that you hear on the outskirts of town that wakes you up from your slumber. I think I'll start with White Raven. What is it as you rest in this warm, muggy air? But you are always surrounded by cool air. The air around you is always cool and crisp and dry, is it not?
Yes.
Okay. So as you sleep comfortably when everybody else is sort of just kind of sweltering and trying to rest, what is it that snaps you out of your deep, cool slumber?
I think I hear a kind of bestial cry in the night that, having spent a lot of my time outdoors, it strikes me as not being a wolf or something common. Almost sounded like it could have been a human scream or something like that.
A human screaming in fear, or a human screaming in anger? A human screaming in delight?
I'm gonna say screaming in terror.
All right. Wretch, what is it that jolts you awake from the boughs of the tree that you're sort of nestled into? And do you sleep in human form, or do you sleep in wretch form?
No, I'm totally a ratch. Yeah, no, she's just like, she's curled up as this creepy beast, and I think what wakes her up is I want to say maybe she sees or like there's. So give me a little quick background. So like they're all fasting right now?
In the town, most people are fasting, or people are supposed to be fasting. Like a lot of fasting seasons, people sort of keep cutting back further and further on what they mean by fast. Like, oh, I'm giving up. I'm going to give up something I never do, type thing.
Right. Okay.
And, yeah, we'll find out a little bit more about that from Lenore soon. But yeah, this is kind of a fasting season. It's going to lead into a feasting season.
I think what wakes up Ratch is some drunkard peeing on the tree.
So even though people are supposed to be cutting back on what they're drinking, there's someone peeing on the tree.
Yeah. Yeah.
Drunkenly. What's his emotional state seem like, to Ratch? Sad, laughing, angry?
Oh man. He clearly it's a guilt thing. Like I can just smell the guilt on him, right? Like
Right.
he's reeking with it. Like he's come out to the edge of town just to drink on fasting days. Yeah.
Old man or young man?
I want to say a younger guy. Yeah.
Okay. All right. What makes you recognize this guy as the blacksmith's benighted apprentice?
I mean, it's the smell, the smell of singed hair It's you know, I think, you know, I can see pretty well in the dark, so there's like you know, I can see that like his he's uncommonly tanned on his arms and on his face, and you know, like burn marks here and there as you would expect, and maybe he's got like big heavy boots.
Now, Nurk, when you say, you know, outside, maybe towards the edge of town, how far out of town does Nurk get? Are you a kobold looking for comfort? Or are you at one with the open sky?
He's definitely down with the open sky.
Okay.
And I think definitely tonight he's, you know, further out than in.
Okay. It does get a little more airy the further out, especially the further you get away from the swamp areas into the forest. And what wakes you up, Nurk?
Buzzing.
Buzzing?
Like there's always bugs because it's hot and muggy and it's night.
And it's summer.
Like it's really loud and consistent, I guess, in a way that like the sort of ambient buzzing you would normally hear is not.
So if it's really loud, it almost seems like more of the buzzing of a hornet or a bee, something that has multiple wings and it's going in a very steady rhythm, rather than those kind of biting flies that have two wings and buzz very, very erratically as they land and bite and take back off. And you know, those kind of creatures are daytime creatures, and you're hearing them at night. Am I kind of getting the picture correctly?
Yeah, that works.
Okay. I don't know how much Nurk pays attention to bugs. You know, growing up in a forest, possibly more than many of us do. This is an angry bee swarm buzz. Where is it coming from in relation to you, and what about it is the thing that finally wakes you up and realize what it is?
I think it's coming from further out into the forest, and just the thing that identifies it is the sheer volume. Is it you know, it gets loud and it's like there are a lot of them. Also, Nurk lived in the caves, so like he would have eaten plenty of bugs, so he knows about bugs.
Davi, out on the edge of town, have you got a roof over your head tonight, or do you not?
Yeah. I think you know, it's a roof, but it's not much of a roof.
Okay.
I don't think it's raining, but if it was, this, you know, you might as well sleep outside because there's, you know, it's a roof's full of holes.
Right. A tree might be better in the rain.
Right.
And around here, it's sort of all dense pine, so they're actually pretty good. If you can crouch up under them, they're actually pretty good cover from the rain. Davi, what is it that jolts you awake tonight?
Yeah, like somebody gave me like this straw mat to sleep on in this like small shack. There's like 5 people in this small shack all just huddled together, cramped up, trying to sleep, and like somebody standing.
Mostly smugglers, mostly highway folk, mostly what?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's those that would be shunned out of town. These would be like your poverty, your beggars.
Okay.
Your town drunks. You know, they don't have anywhere else to go, but they're also not like a danger to society in a way.
Okay, so no one's like out like trying to get rid of this kind of encampment. It's more like, where else are they going to go?
Right. Exactly.
And what is it that wakes you up again? Sorry.
It's actually like somebody's boot. They kind of like kick me and tell me I'm laying on their bed. And I tell them, I'm like, this can't even call this a bed.
And Lenore, I'm going to come to you in a moment because you are safely and comfortably in the inn. But I will ask you one quick question. You know that the fasting season is supposed to protect people not only from the wages of sin or something abstract like that. It's supposed to protect people from the dead. What are people afraid that the dead will bring if they return into the living land? If they return, the dead return all the time. What terrible thing do people dread the dead will bring with them when they return? And how does fasting prevent that? And you can use magical logic all you want. So,
okay. I think so. I think in the summer, the death god sheds its skin and is just a giant river snake, and it gets so hungry that it just takes lives before they're. This is all legend. I mean, my church would never believe this, but
right.
The river snake takes souls before their time, especially the biggest ones, the ones with the most food, because it's so hungry during the summer. Mm-hmm. So that's why they fast, because if you have an empty stomach, you're less appetizing to the river snakes.
And why do enlightened, mystical people who understand the death god truly still observe the fasting?
I think it's just almost like like a nice thing to calm people. It's like, yeah, sure, that's what happens. Don't worry. But really, in the temples and the abbeys, it's just like that. If it's a river snake, it's going to come for you no matter what. That's the secret here. But we don't tell the outside that. That's too scary for them.
Downstairs in the common room, Lenore, people are doing some things that technically observe the time of abstinence and fasting, but show that they have missed the higher point. For instance, they fasted from bread all day, but you might be smelling the simmering of very rich meats on the roaster, or which of course is only making the inn warmer tonight. But on this night when it's hard to sleep, Lenore, what is it that's sort of like they're missing the larger point of self-denial, they're doing something technically that's fasting, but what is it you're hearing them do that's like, don't you people understand what self-denial is all about type thing? Like, we're not supposed to have meat, so I'm going to eat a very lavish chicken.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. I know. A bunch of people got into their heads that obviously the best thing, like, we're not supposed to eat regular food, but we can eat snakes now. So they're frying up these like pythons and stuff.
Oh yeah. So this is the season of eating fried snake.
Yeah, and it's Lenore is just like, that. You can't do that. That's awful.
Right. Yeah.
I like I've been told that this isn't like for real, but this is still like a symbol of the god during the summer. You can't. That's very disrespectful.
Right. Okay. Nurk. The buzzing is growing louder and louder and louder. Till you realize, in that kind of groggy, half-awake way, that it is all around you. And it's dark, but all of a sudden you feel things land on your skin. What do you do?
Think I jump up and try to grab my sword and just sort of start flailing.
Sort of just kind of flailing around.
Yeah.
Trying to like knock things off of you, stab things.
Yeah.
What do you? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, knock things away, slash things, just generally be unpleasant to land on.
Okay. We'll defy danger with let's defy danger with dexterity, if you would.
That is a 7 total.
Yeah. You notice something weird about them. And you also notice a place that you can crawl under the cellar, not under the cellar, under the floorboards of an old house to kind of get away from them. Are you going to let the one on your arm possibly bite you so you can take a good look at it? Or are you going to dive for the, knock it away and dive for the darkness of the floorboards of the house?
Oh, definitely the first one. I want to...
Okay.
If I think there's something weird about these bugs, then I definitely want to investigate.
Awesome.
Things can't be that bad. I've got scales.
Roll a d4.
One.
A 1? Yeah. They bite you, but you sort of get it by the neck and pull it away as you can get cover from the others. It's at first you think it's a snake, and then you realize, or it's the skeleton. At first you think it's the skeleton of a snake, and then you realize the skull would not fit nicely on that skeleton. Instead it's just a spine. It's the spine of some small creature, and all the other bones in the creature's body seem to have been turned into these kind of weird flapping wing-like structures. You're not sure how it flies with no membrane between those wings, but they are still kind of burrowing away, and this skeleton has like oddly pronounced canines, and is trying to nibble back into your arm where it bit you previously, but you've got it, and they're almost over. Ratch, the blacksmith's apprentice stops urinating on the tree and drops a bottle to the ground, and then just sort of sits down on a log or an old stone and starts sobbing. And that's when you realize about the consistency of the buzzing you've been hearing, Ratch, is coming your way, and you can't really see what they are, but they are blotting out the star and moonlight overhead, and they're aiming straight for your tree and for this young man kind of sitting at the base of it. What do you do?
I think I think I leap down and to the in front of the guy.
Yeah.
And is there any liquor left in the bottle?
Yes, there is. There's a couple of fingers of it. There's a few fingers of liquor in the bottle, but clearly his constitution gave out before the bottle did.
I think
or at least his emotions gave out before the bottle did.
I think I grabbed the bottle by the neck with my snout and then just like manipulate it in my mouth, so I gulp it down in front of him, and I toss the bottle aside, and then I growl and sort of kind of try to indicate that he come with me. I like kind of grab, use my rat-like tail to grab him a little bit and pull him toward the town.
Is there a certain structure or building you're heading towards, or is it just like whatever nearby is providing shelter?
Just the nearest shelter, yeah.
Okay. I feel like there's a shed about 15, 20 feet away from you.
Mm-hmm.
You could dive towards like a shack or an outhouse. There's an outhouse. The Marin family. It's their outhouse. And I'd like you to defy danger with charisma.
Oh, hell yeah.
What'd you do?
All right, so that's a -1, I think.
I think you actually have a 1. Or no, I'm looking at the wrong thing. I'm sorry. I apologize. -1.
-1.
You think I learned to look at a character keeper?
Got a 10 anyway, so golly.
Yeah, he comes running. He turns and looks at you, and runs after you. And then as you sort of dive behind that, as the thing's making this whirring, buzzing sound, kind of swarm past you, hear some of them smack hard into the far side of the outhouse. And young Tom, the apprentice, is actually so grateful that he completely misses you when he just starts to throw up. But both of you are entirely safe, thanks to your fast action. White Raven, you had heard the scream, correct? You were the one who heard the scream?
Correct.
And then you hear more screaming and then kind of a buzzing sound. And it's a high-pitched human scream. High-pitched out of terror. Clearly frightened, but the buzzing sound is coming towards from the same direction. What are you doing?
And I assume the buzzing sound is not something I recognize or have come across before.
I don't know. Would you like to spout some lore about it?
I'll give it a shot. I think that's a natural 12. So 13.
Awesome. You know that You know that
Sorry, I have 0 and so it's 12.
okay. Either way, you know that during the fasting season, it is said that the river snake will summon swarms down on those that it wants to consume for their sins.
Hmm.
And you know that the river snake is a summer presentation of the death god down here. But the swarms it summons are not swarms of living creatures. How is it you know, though, that this what is it about this that makes you recognize this as something that was not done by a god per se, but done by a human with illusions of divinity?
The true divine river snakes swarms are more spirit-like in nature and wouldn't be detected just naturally. They're not, readily visible in our plane. So it could be someone drawing on that symbolism, but perhaps this necromancer, if I go so far as have you heard of tales of such figures?
You have indeed heard tales of the necromancer in the swamp. But you've not known what interested him in the land of the marches. The screams increase. What do you do? I say the screams are increasing and moving towards the town.
I will grab my.
This is the buzzing.
Yeah, the buzzing and the screaming. I will grab my axe and head into the night in the direction of the screaming and the buzzing.
Nice. Davi, the person with the boot is someone you know. Who is it? I'm saying someone you know, and I think someone you possibly don't like, or if they're not someone you know, what is it that tells you immediately this is not someone you care to make friends with?
I want to say we'll just call him say his name's Otis.
Otis?
Yeah. And he's a road beggar. He goes along the heavily traveled roads and just begs. And of course uses all that money for drink. What I don't like about him is that, even though he does steal, he never steals from anybody that can, survive losing something. He'll steal from those that are, just as desolate as him.
And this bed he's trying to kick you out of is not his, is it?
I don't know. He says it's his, but it's not really a bed. It's just a mat of straw.
And you're starting to hear kind of a weird buzzing in the background, and he's staring at you going like, why are you sleeping in here? You should be sleeping outside. You don't have a place here.
I can sleep where I please, but I was invited to stay here, so I'm staying here.
I'm disinviting you.
You can't disinvite me. You can find you a place on the floor anywhere.
Oh. I'd like you to roll with charisma.
All right. Let's go with red. Let's see, that's 7, and my charisma's 1, so that's at 8.
It's 8.
Yep.
Are you going to push him out the kind of half-open window? Kind of exposing you to the open window of the night, but keeping him in his place. You know, showing him his boss. Are you going to let him sort of toss you in order to kind of get a better look at the situation? Toss you off the bed, but then sort of use that as a new vantage point.
Are you saying he's grabbing a hold of me now?
Yeah, but you'll have a chance to sort of grab hold of him at the same time. You're pretty sure you can leverage his very, very drunk butt out the window, which is not too far from you, without not using any excessive force. But it's going to expose you to whatever's buzzing around out there. Or you can kind of roll with it and be moved away from the bed, but without sort of like waking anybody else up or opening the window.
I think when he grabs me,
Mm-hmm.
I grab one of those marbles that I have and I show it to him.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, you know what this is, right? And I like press it against his forehead a little bit so he can feel the heat of it.
Yeah, he what is it? What are you putting on me?
Well, if you don't want to find out, unhand me.
I think this is when you hear things sort of hitting against the outside of the hut or the shed that you're sort of in. And he gets really distracted.
I like ask him, like, what the hell is that?
Some magic you weirdos cast.
I didn't cast anything. I was just sleeping. Does it sound like pellets hitting or?
It does. It sounds like large hail hitting, but there's kind of some scraping that goes along with that.
And you said there's a window right there, right? Can I see it? Can I look through it?
Yeah, these dark figures kind of colliding against the. There's not a lot of them yet. I think one of them, as you look, sort of hits the glass and it cracks before it sort of falls away, and it sort of knocks the window a little more shut.
Yeah, I like. Does he let me go now? But at this point,
yeah, he's like, "What? What's going on? What are you doing? What have you done?"
Shut up, you old fool! I haven't done anything, and I'm like kicking all the other people that are like laying there, trying to wake him up to warn them, you know, something's going on. And I'm like, I'm wondering, like where everybody's sleeping because I know that, like, not everybody was going to stay at the inn. Like, I think perhaps I'm going to try to make my way to the inn, to find Lenore.
Are you trying to like sort of duck and cover as these things fly in the air, or?
Yeah, I think I'm just going to make a mad dash and like try to cover my head and
cloak over your head. Nurk, you're hearing cries, and this is true of Ratch as well. You're hearing cries from around the town. What are you doing? Are you just kind of staying low to the ground and
running towards the nearest cry?
And Rach, what about you? Jen, you may be muted. Jennifer, sorry, you may be muted.
Yeah. So the blacksmith dude's safe and passed out on the toilet.
Or at least against the western wall of the outhouse.
Yeah, I think she's gonna go and also kind of try and figure out what's going on,
Okay.
and try to see if she can help people.
All right. I think all of you are kind of drawn towards, or the several people abroad are sort of drawn towards the screaming. Lenore, you hear quite a commotion as Davy bursts through the door. And Davy, what are you yelling?
I just run in and I'm just yelling, bugs, bugs, making sure there's nothing caught in my hair.
Yeah, that's when you sort of start seeing them kind of crack against the glass of the inn windows, and the bartender is yelling at you, not paying attention, Davy, because he's thrown you out of here before, just for having a bad reputation. Lenore, you're upstairs. What are you up to?
Yeah, I think I was probably coming down to chastise these people for cooking these snakes after I could pick up the smell or something.
Right.
And then maybe like halfway down is when this commotion happens.
Are they currently like eating snake in the inn?
It is, according to Lenore, that's the common substitute for meat during the 3 days of fast.
Yeah, that freaks me out because I freaking hate snakes.
Oh yeah.
So like I don't know if I'm more scared of the dead snakes people are chewing on or these bugs outside.
Lenore, you see these things cracking against the window. What do you do?
And yeah, they don't seem familiar to me, right?
No. Well, I mean, it's hard to see them being night, but you do swear they were just skulls cracking against the window of some sort. Because as soon as they hit the window, they fall or deflect themselves or something. It's kind of hard to see.
Yeah, that's no good. I think so. How are the other people handling this?
1 second. They're starting to look. The bartender is very focused on throwing Davy out of his inn. But the other people are starting to notice things cracking against the window and starting to look very, very frightened. What are you doing?
Yeah, I think I mean, I feel like I want to see if these things are really like dangerous or what.
Right.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna like from this I guess get closer to the window maybe, and I think I'm angling for discern realities, but I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's you're trying to get close to the windows. In the light coming from the end, you can kind of see what's hitting it.
Yeah, or maybe like as I'm walking toward it, I'll just take maybe a lantern or something or a torch.
Yeah.
One of these people.
Oh, actually, there's light in the end. Maybe if you bring one of them a little bit closer, you might be able to get a good look out. Why don't you roll with wisdom?
That's a 6 total.
Okay. Oh man.
It's fine. I'm just trying to level up. It's okay.
Good job.
Can I roll aid with that?
You can. What are you doing to sort of help?
Like maybe like I'm like super fast talking like what I saw out there. I'm like, these things are flying all over the place. They kind of sting when they hit you. And like when they fly by, they buzz so loud, like the largest bumblebees ever.
Right. Yeah, roll aid.
Since we don't do bonds, are we just rolling flat or?
Actually, I prefer to do it like you're sort of doing a defy danger roll.
Okay.
But the bonus will be the same. But let's roll with let's have you roll with wisdom to see if you can pick out the important details. Does that make sense?
Yeah. 6. That's an 8.
8. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that gives me.
Ask me one question there, Lenore.
I think the most pertinent is what is about to happen.
These skull-tipped creatures that seem to just be. At first, you think snakes, but actually just sort of seem to be flying spinal cords of various creatures are about to break through that window. In fact, several of them have just hit the glass hard enough that if they hit it one more time, it's going to crack. What do you do? And that's also for you, Debbie. There are shutters on the inside of the window. There's shutters inside, shutters outside, sort of set up, depending on what side you need to brace the windows from.
Yeah, that's not good at all. Well, I think Lenore's realizing that is just putting her hands back to the people around, maybe especially to Dabby over there. So
right.
Everyone, stand back. Hold on. And I think I'm going to push my luck and try this divine ward to try and drive these things back instead of the logical shut the shutters.
Yeah. That's awesome. Why don't you do that?
All right, that's another wisdom roll. Oh, okay, way better. That's a 10. So
awesome.
Let's see. So divine ward. When I call upon my deity for protection, yourself or an ally, roll wisdom. 10 plus, grant 2 of the following. So definitely an approaching enemy is driven back. And I think I'll take, +1 forward to defy danger makes the most sense.
Okay. Ratch, Nurk, and White Raven, you are sort of converging on the spot that the screaming is coming from, and it's sort of like move forward and then run back. The cries are coming from, and the things are starting to kind of go over your heads, and I think they're against sort of the light of a small sort of single candle lantern, a small sort of inexpensive just wax candle inside a glass globe type lantern, not burning very brightly. You see someone with their cloak sort of pulled around them, sort of huddling down near a rock, and trying to flail at the things flying by in the air while they're clearly distraught, looking at something else on the ground not far away from them. Running towards them, though, as these things start to come through thicker and thicker, may involve defying danger just to sort of get over there. What are you doing, the three of you?
Do I recognize these creatures?
I think you recognize them as small creatures, but you don't really recognize exactly.
I
What they
haven't
are.
gotten a good look at them yet.
Yeah, it's nighttime, and they're sort of flying by overhead. They seem like, from what you've glanced at, as they almost look like small rodent skulls, or at least a few of them. The slower moving ones do. But there's trailing sort of these spinal cords or snake skeletons or something.
So are they actively attacking this person that's huddled in the
They're sort of pelting themselves against his cloak as he's like almost doing his best to ignore them, so clearly distraught. And he's pulled his cloak sort of around him and the hood down over his face, but he's so unable to leave whatever he's looking at.
I'm going to leap into action, sort of just running towards the guy into the swarm. I think just swishing my sword in front of me and hoping that, I'm not a big target. So this is my thinking.
Okay.
If I can get to basically
following.
And if I can get basically to the top of the rock that he's, the guy is leaning on.
Right, and you're hoping just to like flail things away from him?
Yeah, just sort of.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. Why don't you, what with dexterity as you sort of leap up there? And White Raven, were you about to say something else?
I'm running towards him. As I run, I'm going to kind of exhale a breath of cold air, and I want to freeze this man's cloak to harden it against his attack.
Oh, nice. Okay. So what move are you looking to make? And sorry, Ratch.
Yeah. I think I'll be kind of running toward the person too, and I'll just be whipping and biting the critters as I go, as I can.
Okay.
So I have a move called Freeze, which is a con roll.
Okay. Let's start with that. All
right. Let's see. Trying to
I got an 8, by the way.
clear the
You got an 8
dice.
there?
Yeah. Or 9, I guess, taking into account my racial move, but
Right. Okay.
doesn't make a difference.
So I got a 7. So the way it works is I can I affect more than I intended to. Something else gets frozen. The GM will tell you what. But I am able to use the ability where their body's coated in ice. They gain 3 armor, but their movement is slowed.
Okay. So repeat those again. I'm sorry.
So I coat him in ice. He gains 3 armor, and his movement is slowed.
Okay.
But because I rolled a 7, I affect more than I intended to.
Right.
So something else gets frozen. And it could possible options that, like, if you want to use the other things I could target. So his legs could be frozen to the floor, so he cannot move. His arm could be frozen, so he drops what he's carrying. Or I think it could just be anything else too that's kind of open.
Right. He's starting to crawl away as he's seeing you get there. Wait, Raven, but more than just slowed, his cloak sort of freezes around him, and in the sort of wet, marshy ground that he's standing on. You may be closer to the forest than the actual swampland, but the ground he's standing on is fairly damp. And I think he freezes to that ground and then starts to sort of panic because it feels like he's trapped in place, even though he's protected and safe. Nurk, you're on that rock and sort of knocking kind of a hole in them, and kind of driving them away. And they knock you back. They don't hurt you. One of them just something that's larger, something almost the size of like a small dog or a small wolf, sort of barrels into you, Merrick, and sort of knocks you back. And you land on what the person was pointing at. Which is a unmoving body. You can tell it's still warm, so it might even still be alive, but you're not in a great position to check on that because you are now laying immediately on top of it. And it may just be that it's not moving because there are hands reaching out of the ground and holding it in place.
Oh.
But now you're on top of that, and these hands that are reaching out of the ground and holding it in place, including covering its mouth. And it's the body of the living or dead, who knows, you haven't had a chance to really check yet, of the local blacksmith. And Wretch, you were kind of swiping at these things and driving them back yourself. And as Nurk sort of goes high, are you more close to the ground in this form?
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm just kind of, I'm kind of leaping here and there, sort of, but whipping with my tail and grabbing with my teeth.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. I'd like you to roll with strength because you are kind of throwing your full weight onto these things with all.
9.
9. Yeah, okay. So a total of 9. And you have a moment where you realize you can catch one of them in your mouth. That's going to sort of allow it to bite you. Whip around and bite you. Or you've caught one of them in your mouth. And this, the whatever it was, this swarm of whatever it is starting to thin and thin out. And this may be the tail end of it. Are you going to keep this one for yourself?
Oh, hell
but it's
yeah.
going to like snap back around and bite you before you can sort of like cheat your bite up and get right behind its neck. Or are you going to just sort of let it go and not get bitten?
Now I'm keeping this thing.
All right. Why don't you roll a d4?
1.
Yeah, you take 1 point of damage. And as the swarm starts to thin out...
Does that... Oh, never mind.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Look, is that...
Nothing.
Okay. The swarm starts to thin out, and you've caught one in your teeth. It's a sizable thing with like the skull of like a weasel or something on the end of it. And it snaps back and bites you, and then it just stops moving, and the buzzing stops. Um, over in the inn, things are still sort of progressing through. And you were about to, but you had driven them back from the inn, correct? Lenore?
Yeah, theoretically.
Okay, yeah. You drove them away from the inn. And you hear them almost like move, like you're looking at a swarm of birds get very close to something and suddenly divert itself, or a flock of birds suddenly divert itself and go around, and then start to sort of like collapse to the ground, and then the buzzing just stops. And there's this weird, still silence. And as you look out look out the window and the lights from the lanterns, you see the streets of Goatbridge, or the scattered with these skeletons that look like they were like designed from or these weird sculptured like things that look like they were designed from the bones of a puppet, or like of rats and weasels and various creatures that live in both the forest and the swamp. And I'd like to ask once again to each of you, as these things fall around you, and the screaming and crying from town starts to dampen down, what's the last thing we see you doing on camera this night before we go to a break?
I think I like grab Lenore and I'm like, I don't know what you did, but thank you. Look, I think all this is my fault.
Lenore?
And I think maybe Lenore, I guess, goes outside maybe and picks up one of these things that's nearby or something.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what you think you did, but it has to be, it's something unnatural. I don't know. This has to be that necromancer.
No, I'm telling you, this is my fault. This is my punishment for living such a treacherous life. I'm telling you, somebody sent this after me. I know it. All that crap I did when I was younger, this is it coming back to me right now.
I don't think it's these bones would come alive. There's only like just sinning won't do this. This has to be some kind of just evil. I don't think anything you did. Trust me, that'll come back to you. Don't worry. But I don't think this is related.
All right.
Okay.
Over near the frozen townsperson and the as yet unmoving body of the blacksmith, what's happening? What is the last thing we sort of see you do this night? Starting with Nurk, who has fallen on top of this body, just being held down by dead hands reaching out of the dirt.
So am I also being like grabbed by hands?
No.
Can
You're
I
just
be?
on top of a? Can you be?
Can I be? I mean, as far as the final thing.
Oh yeah. I think. What is Nurk wearing? He sort of woke up in the middle of the night.
He's got like this fancy leather armor that he took off of a dead halfling adventure he found in the caves before leaving.
Okay.
Yeah, and I just sort of imagine him like biting, trying to like chomp down on the wrist of one of the hands that is grabbing him.
You're not sure how it happened, Nurk, but yeah, like you you didn't feel it grab at you, but like I think the upper arm leathers that you wear, you feel like you realize there's cold fingers kind of underneath the armor, and it's so warm that it's off. It's normally you might wear something under the armor, but it's been so warm that you don't necessarily want anything between the armor and your skin, because that's more hot. So where the leather would touch your skin, the dead hands have sort of gotten their fingers in there, and you're able to pull yourself out, but they are clearly holding down the smith. So I guess, like you said, the last thing we see is you sort of like kind of gradually slipping yourself away from this.
Yeah.
Ratch, the swarm is cleared, both between where you were standing and where Nurk was standing on the rock. There are many. That area with the bones are scattered everywhere, or the little bony creatures are scattered everywhere. But near where the two of you were, there is a dense covering. It's where the two of you knocked many of them out of the sky. What's the last thing we see Ratch doing before we get a break?
I think she's she's got the one that she had in her mouth, and she's just kind of so like, you know, Ratch mainly looks like this really ratty looking dog with a big rat's tail, and then has like bird-like claws for feet, and with her front paw, or with her front claws, she's just kind of you know, examining, you know, the bones on the ground.
Okay.
While the other one just limply hangs in her mouth.
So you're like sort of snuffling at them?
I'm like, yeah, snuffling, and then I'm just like, I'm picking them apart, sort of. With my claw.
Like you have that sort of rat. Do you have the sort of ratty claws that are semi-prehensile, almost?
Yeah, my front paws are kind of raccoon like, and then my back paws are like bird claws.
Oh wow, awesome. So yeah, you're sort of like picking at them. Raven, what about you, White Raven?
So, sort of behind her, you see the person who had been frozen in place. The ice just kind of melts. She can thaw him out at will, but she's not even really paying attention to him as she's picking up the bones of these snake-like spine creatures, and I think she pulls her bear pelt armor down a bit and is comparing it to, she's got like a sort of a skeletal snake tattoo that runs from like her neck all the way down her body, kind of like coiled around her body.
Okay.
It's one of her. She had marked skin, so I'm thinking this is like a symbol of like a flying skeletal snake is a symbol of the winter wind, and she's just kind of staring at this, wondering what it means.
I want to do one quick housekeeping note. I screwed up on my time math. We were going to have a 3 to 3.5 hour session, which would not have us ending between 11 and 11:15. It has us ending around between, or 11:15 and 11:30. It would have us ending at 11:30, 11:45. So that's what I'm really aiming for. I apologize for misstating that at the beginning. If anybody needs to slip away, please just kind of give me a message or a shout out of some sort. And let's take 5.
We just lost Pat, I think.
Oh, a freeze? Okay. Let's get back on. Hey, Pat, did we get you back? A couple more minutes. Hey, you're back. Hooray.
Yeah, sorry. For some reason, Chrome just like hung up on me during that. The last thing I heard was hands going in the armor, and then just everything just died on me.
Oh,
Then.
yeah, okay. All right.
Yeah, I'm back too.
Awesome.
I couldn't. My camera worked for a minute when I restarted, but then it almost instantly died again. I don't know what's going on.
I'm sorry about that. But that's super frustrating.
Yeah, for some reason, Chrome like leaks memory bad on my computer. So a lot of times when I got too many tabs open, it ends up crashing the whole system.
Jennifer, are you back? Got you back yet?
Yep.
Awesome. All right. Okay. Let's move ahead to the next morning. And I'd like to first I want to ask sort of a meta level question on any conversations you've had the night before. We can assume those conversations happened without having to kind of act out the whole conversation. But what secrets of what you've seen or studied or thought or realized have you kept? My question is sort of, what have you not shared?
Is that to all of us?
Yeah, that's to all of you.
And is it secrets pertaining to what just happened, or just in general?
Yeah, just specifically about what just happened. Like, what did you see the night before that you have not shared, if anything?
I mean, I'm not going to say anything about the blacksmith's apprentice being all drunk and stuff.
Okay.
I don't know. I think everything I saw, everybody else saw, so I really don't have any secrets.
Okay.
Yeah, there's nothing I'm not going to be sharing. Although, like, I mean, was the blacksmith okay? What was I mean, did we solve the whole hand issue?
Seems like as you studied, the blacksmith seems to be breathing, but is being held in place.
So we weren't like able to cut him free or anything?
Do you want to try to cut him free? Sort of, is that something you want to do? Like, I think, yeah.
That's something I think Nurk would try pretty immediately.
Oh, pretty immediate? Okay. So let's get you to the early morning. And Nurk, I think I'm going to have you... For your efforts at night, I'd like you to defy danger with strength to try to pull the blacksmith free.
Cool. I'm super great at strength. That's a 9.
A 9?
A 9.
Could I aid? So I'm there.
Yeah. So that's, go ahead and roll with strength.
Yeah, I don't think I can justify using my small size to my advantage here.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Yikes. That is a 4.
Oh.
Oh, Jesus. What are you doing? First you freeze the guy.
So I think what happens is as Raven and Nurk work on pulling him free, you're able to get him free, but he doesn't wake up. One moment.
I slap him around a little bit, see if
Yeah.
that helps.
Yeah. But Nurk, as Raven bends down to sort of help you pry the hands off, you're able to sort of slip him free. And then...
Oh, I should mention one thing.
Yes.
I have something called cold-hearted. I'm no good with other people. Even when helping someone you care about, you have trouble putting yourself on the line. When you aid an ally, this is on a 7 to 9, but basically the consequences apply to the person I aided instead of myself. So
right. Okay. That's on a 7 and 9 though, correct?
Right. Yeah. Sorry, I was thinking that.
Yeah. So you pull the guy free, and Nurk, you're immediately sort of trying to get him to wake up and smacking him. And I think at that point, Nurk, you have your back to the hands that have been pulling at him, holding him down. And Raven, you've turned to look at what Nurk is looking at. And one of the hands grabs you. And I'd like you to roll a d6, please, Raven.
That's a 6.
Wow. Yeah. You're not sure whether it's acid or fire or something else. So when it lets go of your hand, or when you're able to pull your hand away from it, and it retracts into the earth, you have a burn on your hand, on your forearm where it grabbed you, sort of like right there. And there's a burn where you see that hand, even now, in kind of a sharp red, annoying, frustrating welt. And Nurk, you get him free, kind of using all your might, and sort of pull him away from the hands. And as you turn to try to wake him up, you hear Raven's cry or gasp from the pain. And as you turn, did you bring anything with you besides your armor as you ran away from your kind of sleeping spot?
I would have tried to grab my stuff quickly once I had gotten clear of that initial swarm, and then before running to the streams.
Do you keep most of your stuff in a pack?
Yeah. Maybe healing potions on a belt or something where they're easily grabbed and taken.
It pulls one of your healing potions free before it, you feel it at your come to reach for you, skid off your armor, the leathers, and grab at your belt, and you're sort of flat on the ground, and it just kind of retracts into the earth with the healing potion that was on that hip.
No, that costs money.
And the hands are gone, and the blacksmith is not awake, but seems to be breathing like he's sleeping, instead of like he's just sort of quietly gasping for air. Perhaps a drunken, snoring sleep. By the morning, what have you done with the blacksmith?
Well, I think it's going to be determined by if Nurk intervenes, but I'm thinking White Raven sees this man as having been claimed by death, and was intent on carrying him somewhere where he could be given a proper sending off.
Even though now he is.
Yeah, I think we intervened on the natural order of things by taking him away from Death's Hand.
Wretch, what do you think about this? And Jennifer, you may be muted.
Sorry, yeah. What do I think about the...
Raven seems to be intent on taking him somewhere other than his home, that she can leave him.
Where?
Raven, where are you sort of taking the body?
I'm thinking it would be a cave, and my thought is I'll leave him there, and if he's meant to live, he will live, and if death is meant to take him, death will take him.
Okay.
I think I sort of get up in her face and start growling.
And Nurk, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, so Raven is like making this intent clear.
Yeah, Raven, is that correct?
I think Raven is just like oblivious that this is even like not okay or right. Against like civilized customs. This is just like what you do with.
Okay, I think Nurk is like, "Whoa, Ratch, what are you doing? That's not where his home is. I don't think. Should probably get him there."
So, the stench of a city is no place to die.
He's asleep. Like, he might live still. What are you talking about?
We saw the hands of death trying to claim him. Who are we to intervene?
And she just barks.
We're heroes saving people's lives. Are you insane? No.
Frowns a bit and says,
"That's crazy." If
I'll agree to take her to Lenore and see what she says of this.
And then, you know,
gods.
Ratch's hackles are lowered, and she seems satisfied by this answer. And licks Nurk's hand.
Pat, I think Nurk pats you with a little lizard hand. Little.
All right, so Raven like hoists this drunkard over her shoulder and starts heading towards the tavern where Lenore is staying.
Kind of fireman's carry style?
Yeah.
All right. Is anyone not heading to the cavern as dawn breaks? Or the inn, sorry. All right. So I think everybody's... Sorry, I was not watching the screen. I was looking at the character keeper. So everybody's thumbs up on that. All right. So I think as dawn breaks, Lenore, have you been able to sleep, or have you been so shocked awake through the evening?
Yeah, I don't think she's slept much at all.
Okay.
She's maybe just been studying this weird, piecemeal skeleton thing.
What are you doing with it as you study it?
Maybe as like the scene opens in the, I guess on her little, like the room of her inn room. She's maybe taken apart the skeleton and tried to put it in little piles of each animal.
So they are not all assembled from the same animal. For instance, some of them have mouse heads, and mice don't generally have very long don't have very long spines. And so they've taken other creatures' spines and put mouse heads on them. Very delicately. And the buzzing was coming from those wings that don't seem to have any membrane in them. But they do seem to be made from other random bones they've assembled. So you're sort of studying these things. Would you like to roll with wisdom?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's another 6. This isn't a defy danger related thing, is it?
No, it's not.
Okay, just making sure.
It is not. Lenore, necromancers are known to make pacts with ancient, cruel, vicious dead things, as well as demons from the abyssal pits. What about what you're looking at tells you that this was assembled by someone petulant and vindictive?
So maybe when I'm taking this thing apart, and it's so delicate, right, that I'm trying to study it kind of.
Right.
Lenore's not very, graceful. She's pretty clumsy. So maybe she lost in thought, drops the skull and it kind of breaks open. And this, maybe because she's so sensitive, so attuned, it just kind of, kind of shatters into dust. But just she feels almost on a primal level this hate just come out of it. And she's like, oh, this is. If she had any question before, this is absolutely just this necromancer.
Right. So I think all of necromantic power comes from somewhere else. They're known for their pacts and allegiances. And you know that the necromancer may not be nearby, but a spirit under its influence or under the bound to the necromancer is nearby. I think you're certain that someone in town is that vibration, that intensity is giving you the sense of something cruel, petulant, possibly demonic. I mean, that's a very nebulous term, fiendish. Is wandering free in the marches around Goatbridge. But you know that they only come near this many people if somebody has called to it. Um, uh, trying to accomplish something.
I'm kind of getting the sense that it must be drawn to someone in Goatbridge itself.
Yeah.
Ah.
You were getting the sense that it's strongly drawn to someone in Goatbridge itself. But you also get the sense that when you drop that skull, it knows you've made it. It knows you've spotted it or figured it out, and its attention is at least partly on you. The fact that the temperature seems to be rising inside the inn right now, faster than the sun is coming up, also suggests that some spiritual presence is paying attention to you. The rest of you are headed towards the inn or are already at the inn. Davi, what have you been up to through the night as you tried to blame yourself and Lenore talked you out of it? What have you been doing to either calm yourself or to investigate or what are you doing as the early morning hours begin?
I don't think I was really investigating anything. Okay. I think I spent the whole time calming myself by arguing with his damn innkeeper. I think he was still pissed off at me that I was in the inn.
Right.
And yeah, I think I've been arguing with him for a while. Telling him, you know, like, my friend here just saved your ass and you're trying to kick me out back on the street again.
Yeah, I'd like you to roll with charisma there.
All right. So 8 + 1, 9.
9?
Yep.
What is the nighttime barkeeper's name?
We'll just call him Key.
Key?
Yeah.
Key, like the object?
Like key. Yeah, like an object key.
Okay, awesome. And what's been his beef with you? Like his particular. I mean, the proper innkeep who's about to get up has his own beef with you. But what's been Key's beef with you?
I beat him in a game of chance. Took him for quite a bit of money a few years back, and he's still sore about it. He thinks I cheated. Thinks I used my powers to beat him, but I didn't.
Nice. Okay. He's like, all right, you're staying. But where I can see you, and everything costs double.
That's fine. I'm not buying any of this crap anyways. All these damn snakes you have in here. But you got live snakes in the bag, don't you? cook them fresh. You're sick.
Those are my kin.
Says Nurka's entering.
Yeah, I see them. I see them walking in. I'm like, the hell did you guys do to the blacksmith?
Everyone in the inn is like, Old Tom. Oh my God, Old Tom. Ratch, just for FYI, the blacksmith's apprentice name is Young Tom.
Young Tom.
Yeah.
So wait, but they're not related.
Well, no, that's a first name, But Tom is a common name, and if there's going to be more than one Tom, one has to be old and one has to be young.
And they both got to be blacksmiths. Yeah.
Well, in this case, yes.
So I think as the indoor opens, it was hot inside. There's probably a gust of cold air that follows Raven in, and probably I don't know, is Lenore in the kind of main lobby or
It sounded like Lenore. Does that sound correct?
Yeah, I think she was in a room, but this would be a good time to come out.
Okay. As the inn begins to warm strangely.
Yeah.
Almost it's becoming almost a dryish heat inside the inn. You definitely hear, Lenore, that all of a sudden Key and Davi have stopped arguing, and all of a sudden it's Old Tom. What do you? What do you go like summarizing the conversation? What are all of you telling?
He got grabbed by some weird hands in the ground.
Anything else that you're sharing? And Ratch, you said you're not talking about encountering young Tom last night.
Right. I think so I have a quick question. Can I speak while I'm transformed?
You tell me. I mean, it will sound odd. You don't have a human mouth.
Yeah.
But you tell me. Does it sound hissing? Is it sort of like hard to understand you? Is it impossible for you to talk, but you somehow do it anyway in sort of a raspy, throaty way that you have to skip lots of words?
Yeah, I think okay. Well, I think basically. So did someone spout lore about what these creatures were to begin with? Did that happen? I miss it.
There was spouting lore going on. That was Raven.
Okay, that did happen. Okay. In that case, never mind. I guess I'm just like I confirm what Nurk just said. Man.
All right. Yeah, and there's just a person like Finbar was just sort of wandering when he came on the blacksmith last night, and then got swarmed by creatures and tried to protect himself and frozen into place. Finbar has had a very exciting evening, and has gone home to thaw out. Unless you guys specifically wanted Finbar with you. But anything else, just summary wise, that you want, and then I want to give you a chance to sort of, just about 5-10 minutes, just to put together some quick scenes with each other to discuss kind of what happened or what you'd like to do moving forward based on the information you have. How are you sussing it all out?
So I think White Raven's carrying this guy and insisting on talking to Lenore. So probably not doing a whole lot of explaining to just the random people in the inn, but is looking for Lenore.
Yeah, yeah. Lenore comes out, I think, about the time you guys come in. And summarize, like I said, summarize conversation. You are kind of know what you already kind of know what you've said. How are you approaching figuring out what to do about the information you have? What do you do? You've already sort of had that quick conversation. You're together, kind of either around a table or in Lenore's room.
Yeah, if White Raven was bringing in the sleeping or dead old Tom, she'd be like, yeah, bring him up here. That's fine, and we can all like meet in this in room, I guess, to discuss.
Does Lenore tell us about these things targeting somebody?
Yeah,
in Goatbridge.
Yeah, she would definitely share that with everybody. Just like I could feel just the hatred coming from somebody. I think it's got to be someone close, and they've summoned something that they should not have. This is, especially at this time of year, this is very dangerous, as everyone could see.
Yeah, and I'd be like, see, I told you these things were after me. We got to figure out who's doing this. Any ideas?
Nurk, what are you thinking?
Well, first I have a quick out-of-character question for Brian, which is, how cold is it to be around Raven? Because Nurk is a lizard, he doesn't like the cold.
I think it's pretty cold. I think it's like, walk into a room and there's kind of, if I'm in a room long enough, there's probably frost forming on the glass.
Jeez, okay.
At least near
It's
you.
unpleasant.
Yeah, like in my immediate area, and there's probably, I mean, she kind of has the ability to call forth like a whipping winter wind, kind of, and literally freeze people.
But the temperature in Lenore's room has gotten uncomfortably warm, even for a cold-blooded creature like Nurk.
It's probably very uncomfortable for Raven as well. Yeah.
Right.
For once, then I think Nurk is actually stepping a little close. Like, he probably normally keeps like a distance of like 10 feet from Raven, just because it gets uncomfortable to be closer.
Right.
But if it's that hot, then he's probably. I mean, Nurk doesn't have that much to say, unless like. I mean, he's sort of just watching to see what happened. Like, he's not going to let them kill this guy. But he doesn't really have anything to say until they're like, oh yeah, we should kill him. Or let him die.
So, I think White Raven kind of sprawls this guy out on maybe on the bed or on a table or something in Lenore's room, and looks to Lenore and is looking for some guidance on. Just kind of explains that these hands had come out of the ground and shows her the burn that it gave her, and it looks as if he may have been claimed by death and wouldn't want to do anything to, anger death by upsetting the natural order of things.
Yeah, I think Lenore's take on that is just she's like, oh no, it's good that you brought him here. I don't think when death claims someone, it's usually not patient about it. If he would have died, it would have been on the way here. If he's still breathing, then there must still be plans for him. I think we can just keep him comfortable here. I have some bandages. We can wrap him up, but this is obviously unnatural presence here that we have to find.
Well, any ideas? I mean, where these things come from? Who's leading them? You said it's targeting somebody in town. Is it me? If I'm the one, I could be bait. I don't care.
What do I know about these creatures?
You're fairly
I've traveled
smart
around.
and well-traveled, Ratch. Are you studying the bones to sort of understand, or are you trying to spout lore about what
I'm
you
trying to
already
spout lore.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think, yeah, you can start talking about what you know about these things. And
I think as I
Lenore,
as
did you already mention the name Icarus?
Oh, do I know that name?
I'm sorry, did I write that down and not tell you? Yeah, you know the name Icarus.
Oh, okay.
It's, I mean, it's probably not the true name of whatever it is.
Oh, yeah. I'll definitely share that information then. That seems important.
Apologies, yeah, I left that out.
Oh, no,
Ratch.
I might have missed it. Is that kind of the name of the entity or the person? Maybe
Whatever this entity. No, this is definitely the entity. You're pretty sure this is something fiendish. Ratch, what did you get?
I got a 10.
A 10, nice. Ratch, you know the necromancer in the swamp is not originally from the swamp, but originally came down from the hills, far to the north or far to the northeast. And something in the swamp drew him, possibly the existence of so many strange dead creatures in the swamp. You know that there was a recent nearby town that had been sort of on drained swampland that all of a sudden the swamp just sort of reclaimed, and the dead spirits of the old empire have been sort of congregating there on top of that reclaimed drowned town. But the necromancer tends to leave sort of odd, vindictive, impish spirits in his wake. And they like to wreak havoc, but they have to sort of be invited to do so. And Icarus is definitely a well-known popular imp that necromantic conjurers like to summon to do things, and then once you've summoned Icarus to do a thing, lots of necromancers fail to dismiss them, so they just sort of wander around the area, causing havoc until they get banished or sent away or temporarily killed. And they primarily cause mischief by finding people who need something or want something, and then giving it to them in ways that they never imagined.
Okay.
And that's what you know about Icarus.
And I relay this information to y'all.
And I think my question to Ratch is which of the syllables in Icarus? You don't know the full true name, but you know one of the syllables in the given name of Icarus and one of the syllables in the true name of Icarus are the same thing. Which syllable is it? It's Ikar and Us.
Wait. Which syllable of Icarus or Icarus do I know?
Yeah. Which syllable does the given name and the true name share?
I'll go with Ik.
Ik. Um, all right. You know who Icarus is and what it's likely done. What does that information tell you, or what do you want to try to do at this point?
I mean, is that enough to go on to find anything?
What would be your process of looking?
So is Ratch sharing with us that?
Rich, you
Yeah.
said that you said you were sharing that, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Okay.
I don't know if y'all are gonna believe me, but that's what I say.
That is a flag you have out there.
I think I'm gonna go outside. Is it like windy at all? Like what's the weather like?
The weather is outside. The weather is just sort of mild but thick. It's like not hot, but it feels hot because the temperature is just so thick.
Yeah, because I wanna go outside and I wanna ask the air what it knows because it's had all these things flying around in it.
Okay. Do that, please.
The move is to speak with the world itself.
Nice. What does it look like when you ask the air?
I think it's like I'm whispering, but I'm not whispering as exhaling. I'm whispering by like inhaling.
Right.
And like as I'm whispering, the words are backwards, and I'm actually sucking in the air into my body
Okay.
so that it could speak to me. 2d6 red. Ooh, it's a 3. That's a 5.
And what were you asking the air?
To tell me where these things were coming from. And the move says on a miss, I may have disturbed the elements with my meddling.
You whisper your question to the air, and you feel a slight breeze almost as soon as you ask. And then it starts to increase, and it actually feels good for a second. And then there's sort of an intense dry heat burning through it. And up in your room, Lenore, the window begins to rattle. Do you keep it open or closed during the day, with it being so muggy, both inside and out?
Maybe usually I do, but after last night, staying
Closed.
Yeah.
And it starts to rattle weirdly, not just like it's like the wind is hitting it from an odd angle. And Davi, a whisper that's not the voice of the wind, that's riding on the voice of the wind, comes past your ear, and it comes with a laugh, a mocking laugh, and it says, it comes from everywhere. it comes from right here. And just as Davi is hearing that downstairs, upstairs in Lenore's room, the window just pops out of its frame and falls onto the roof below it, shattering. And a smoky, fiery, ethereal figure is perched right where your broken window was, Lenore. And it gestures at White Raven. And it looks at you with kind of burning, smoky eyes. And it says, she was right. Under contract, under the agreement that was made, that is mine. And he points to old Tom's sleeping figure on your bed. And spreads its wings and starts to dive into the room. What are the four of you upstairs doing?
I think Raven's not really sure whether to intervene or not. She kind of looks to Lenore like, well, if Death wants him. It's kind of looking for to see what Lenore does.
And heat is radiating off. Anyone else want to jump in and tell me what they're doing, or I can just check in Lenore?
Oh yeah, well, Lenore doesn't like that at all. She's
tearing up your room and a demonic figure in it.
Yeah, I had to pay the insurance on this, but yeah, I think she just kind of, I guess, kind of interposes herself and just kind of she has a little holy symbol. It's a little skull, a bird skull. Right. She kind of holds that out and just like, this is not yours.
You're trying to
not belong to you.
Are you trying to stand in defense of the body on the bed?
Yeah, I think that'll work.
Let's have you roll with con.
Yeah, am I good at that? No, not bad. Oh no. That's a 4 total.
Oh.
Trying to level up.
You stand in defense and you raise your holy symbol, and your holy symbol burns your hand, and you're dropping it before you even realize you're doing it. I'd like you to roll a d4 as your holy symbol burns itself into your hand, and you sort of tumble to the ground after it, both in pain and trying to like regather yourself and after it. And then the demonic thing grabs Tom by the scruff of his clothes. And the clothes start to sizzle and smolder under its grip. And it starts pulling him by his clothes towards the window. It's not a huge thing, but it has a nice big wingspan and long clawed arms. What are you guys doing?
I'm going to stab it.
I'm going to try to freeze Tom in place.
Okay. Let's start with Nurk.
That's a 7.
A 7?
Yeah.
I'd like you to go ahead and roll your damage, Nurk. And you have a bone sword, correct?
Yes, and that I rolled a 6.
Yeah, so you did your damage to it. Very awesome. But as your sword pierces it, something is profoundly unright because the handle of your sword begins to freeze.
Oh, I love
And
that.
it's clinging frozen to your hand. I'd like you to roll
Sorry, I got to refresh Hangouts.
That's
been
okay.
weird.
roll a d8 when you get back. And I will go to White Raven.
Sorry about that.
So Nurk, you're rolling a d8. White Raven, you were about to try to freeze Tom back to the bed in place.
Yeah. Okay. So this thing is like is it a kind of fiery skeletal arm that's holding him?
You said
Yes.
a D8?
Yes, please. Nurk. Yeah. Yes, that is exactly the case. And Davi, you're hearing screaming from upstairs all of a sudden after the weird voice on the wind that's not the wind's voice said that to you.
I think I'm actually
Raven.
gonna try to freeze the arm of this creature.
Sorry, Richard. Can you say that last part again?
You're hearing screaming from upstairs or cries of I think you heard Lenore cry out.
Yeah, I ran upstairs with my chain in my hand. And I burst in. I'm like, that's
Awesome.
not the wind.
Raven, you were about to do some awesome magical stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna attempt to freeze the arms of this creature, I guess. So that is an 8. So
What happens on an 8 with that?
it's safe to affect more than I intended to. Something else gets frozen.
Oh, right. So what are your you have any choices to make there?
So I'm targeting the arm. It says the arm is frozen solid. It cannot pick up anything, and it cannot use anything it was already holding.
Right.
The frozen arm has the tags hand and +1 armor.
Okay.
So the intent was to freeze this thing's arms so it can't grab Tom, and then also hoping it being kind of a fire creature, it might really hate having its arms frozen.
So it can't retract or bend its arm, but it's already kind of got Tom up by the scruff, and all of a sudden, Tom's clothes and the arm freeze, and old Tom wakes up and exhales, and there's a thick smell of rum for a fasting season. A very, very thick smell of rum. The more expensive of whatever you had, Ratch, that young Tom was drinking. And the clothes are kind of frozen around him. The arm is frozen. And the thing just starts screeching loudly, like, you're interfering with a valid contract. Lenore and Ratch and Dobby, I'd like to hear from you. What are you up to?
Perhaps I just yell at Ratch first.
Okay.
I'm like, Ratch, do something. Jump on it. Scratch its eyes out.
She does that.
Awesome. Act destructively, Ratch. Why don't you hack and slash, unless you've got something else up your sleeve?
Not as far as I'm aware.
All right.
That is an 8.
Ratch, roll your damage first, and then roll a d8.
8 and 5.
You take 5 as you claw into its face as it's screaming about the valid contract, and I think you pull on its fiery tongue. You're sort of like you're. What does your face look like, Wretch? It's kind of like a ratty, Weasley, doggish face. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it sort of bites down as it's screeching, and it just catches its long forked tongue in your mouth. And what do you do with that long forked tongue?
Well, I rip it out, of course.
And its lower jaw is just bleeding this sort of acidic, fiery, but simultaneously cold. And you take, as it splashes into your sort of, onto your fur and onto your snout, you take 5 damage. And it's grabbing its head with its one good arm and flailing about with its frozen arm that is frozen onto Tom's frozen clothes. And what is going on with the rest of you?
So, like, after Ratch like jumps on its face and does this, I kind of move to the front and like I grab its frozen arm and I say, "I am a chosen keeper of the fire thing. I command you back into this room." And that's actually a move on mine. Master of the elements. It is fire, right?
It is sort of made of smoke and fire, but it has a weird sort of multi-element thing. But yeah, I think fire is. You command it back to where?
I want to command it back into the room. So basically, it says when you command the elements, roll wisdom. You may issue commands you have mastered to the elements, and my command is move.
So are you commanding it back out of the room, or it's already sort of in the room, in the halfway onto the bed?
So it wasn't moving out the window?
It was trying to fly out the window, but then its arm got frozen and it couldn't move it. So it's been kind of caught on the end of the bed.
Well, I want to move it, like, I want to restrain it, like, down to the floor to where it can't.
Gotcha. Okay.
It says on a 10+, I may command what is generally considered a large amount of this element. On a 7 or 9, the same, but I choose one from the list.
So its body is made largely of fire. So why don't you command it?
All right.
Or its current body is made largely of fire.
So that's a 7 + 2. It's a 9. So I command what is generally considered a large amount of this element, and I choose one. And let's see. I'll take an additional 1 ongoing to command the elements until I purify myself.
Okay. And which of those moves were you?
Master the elements.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I'm not seeing the whole thing. Sorry. Oh, yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Well, this is... Your command of the elements is flailing, and it's demon tainted. The elements have just been used to sort of form a body for a demon, but now you have pinned them to the ground, and the wood under it is starting to blacken and char. And you have, I think, broken away the body from the arm, so that you've already pulled off its arm that's frozen, kind of holding old Tom's clothes that's still sort of frozen in place. And it's now pinned to the floor, which is kind of blackening where it touches it, and spewing smoke, which is sort of trailing slowly out the window. The open, broken window. Are you going to try to trap it permanently, or are you going to allow somebody to just dispatch it?
Yeah, I'm just gonna hold it there because I can maintain that until I release it.
You're holding it there. What are the rest of you doing? As Davi commands it to the floor and.
Quick question: did its damage ignore armor? I assume.
It damage does not ignore armor.
Okay, so yeah, just took 6 damage. So I think I'm gonna like be on the ground and then sort of flip up and try to stab it again.
So the smoke is kind of going out the window. Is that what you said? Like the fire part of its body is stuck to the ground, but there's like a smoke.
The smoke portion is sort of drifting out the window, and you, Nurk, you're stabbing it.
I'm gonna try to, like, if I have an opportunity to tell Nurk, I tell him follow the smoke.
I can stab the smoke instead.
See where the smoke's going is what I'm thinking.
Oh, that works too. Can I stab the thing first before doing that?
Yeah, and it vanishes into a pool, and the smoke goes drifting. Seems to catch the wind, but then it sort of drifts off.
Can I try to jump out the window?
Well, so say like the smoke seems to like be like, you know, you destroy the fires behind his body. The smoke sort of drifts off high into the sky, but you'd swear it was going back into the swamp to the east. And I think that's where we'll end the session. Unless somebody has something has a last thing they would like to do.
Is it possible to follow like where the smoke is going?
It was going fairly high up, but it's drifting out into, like, you know, it's not descending into the swamp, but it's drifting out over the swamp before it sort of disperses.
Oh, okay. Just sort of like spreading out?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
slow moving, but otherwise seems much like natural smoke. And now that you've stabbed the thing, it's much more like natural smoke.
Okay. I think I shout up, it's going towards the swamp.
Cool. And then it just sort of disperses. Like I said, like as you stab its body, it's like whatever hold it had over the smoke portions is just gone and dispersed. Anything else somebody'd like to do before we sort of do end of session real quick? All right. So I'd like to do a brief end of session.
Oh, oops. I realized I was muted, but I was, just in case, the last thing Lenore does is kind of comfort old Tom there, just to make sure he's not dead or anything.
He is
just real drunk.
Despite the time it's been, he seems to be still really, really drunk. Possibly it's the fact that he was somehow suspended, but the smell of very, very cheap rum on his breath. Well, much like when you've interacted with old Tom before, the smell of cheap rum on his breath is overwhelming. And you've been told before that the primary reason you don't want to work for Old Tom is the way he gets when he gets like this.
It's maybe like the last thing that Lenore says then is like, almost rhetorically, but just like, what have you done, Old Tom? What have you done?
Nice. Well done, Lenore. So I think we're reaching the end of the session. And since we don't do bonds, I'd like you to tell me if you think that somebody hit one of your flags, and if so, who was it? And it could be either one of them. I'll start with White Raven. Do you feel like either of your flags were hit? And if somebody else has a thought, feel free to jump in. But let's just start with White Raven.
No, I think I flirted with breaking a rule or law, but didn't end up doing it.
Right.
And then,
but you you definitely sort of forced other people to do something different than they were thinking about doing. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'll let you you make that call. Sorry, I don't want to correct you.
Yeah, I mean, well, so I haven't really used flags in the past, so I guess what do you guys think? Like,
so basically, how the flag works is you give somebody else an XP if they hit your flag.
Yeah. So when somebody else hits your flag, you're saying like you deserve an extra XP for really kind of kind of setting my character up in a way that I find interesting.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think Nurk and Ratch kind of called me out on it. I mean, they didn't allow me to break the rule, but
Right. Right.
So I think it did kind of lead to a little bit of interesting interaction there.
Good. Okay.
And then trying to think if anyone let their guard down so I could stand watch for them.
Right. I think you can only pick one though. You got to pick one.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just really you're really gonna just name one flag that you feel like somebody hit.
Yeah. And pick one character and give them XP.
I'll say Nurk hit my Law custom.
Okay.
I gotcha.
Ratch, do you think anybody? I feel like or do you feel like anybody really hit either one of your flags?
Yeah, someone did.
Okay.
I don't remember who it was, but someone who told me to sick the demon.
Oh yeah, that was, I believe, Davi.
Yep.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. And Raj, you were kind of co-identified with Nurk, so let's go ahead and do 2 XP, like XP to each of you, since you were both pretty invested in that scene.
Yeah. That's what I was doing.
Yeah. Yeah, so Davi, definitely for acting destructively. Nurk, did somebody hit one of your flags?
I didn't get the chance to do it.
Okay.
But Raven did ask me to do something daring and acrobatic in the form of following the smoke.
Right. Okay.
I don't know if that counts but
I will completely leave that up to you as the person whose flag was hit. So,
I mean, she did ask me to do something acrobatic, and I was gonna jump out that window.
And then I called end of session.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Lenore, what about you?
I think Davy was real close to asking me to listen to Sins or Mistakes, so it'll give them comfort.
Yeah, I think you actually, Davy sort of set you up for that one.
Yeah.
And then Dabi.
I don't know if anybody dissuaded me from solving a problem with force.
Right.
And I don't think I heard anybody reassure somebody else that I wasn't dangerous.
All
so
right.
I don't think any of those got hit.
Right. And like I said, I largely try to leave it to you guys to make those determinations. A lot like bonds. And so I think the next thing we talk about is alignments and drives. Did either of you really did anybody sort of fulfill or engage or get frustrated or be frustrated in an attempt to fulfill their alignment or drive? I don't mean emotionally frustrated, but like you went for it and somebody stopped you.
Did we eliminate an unnatural menace? Because that's my drive. I don't know if it's eliminated or not.
I will actually allow unnatural is one of those vague words, but I feel like if you felt like the menaces you eliminated were unnatural, then I certainly will agree with you.
Okay.
I think that seems pretty logical. You tackled both the manifestation of an imp and several things it created that seem pretty unnatural. Lenora, what about yours?
Yeah, I feel I was pretty close to bring relief to an NPC with suffering.
Yeah. Nurk.
I was certainly trying to show off in front of that the cloak guy.
Oh yeah, poor Finbar.
Finbar, yeah, Finbar.
Yeah.
I was certainly trying to show off by jumping on top of that rock and splishing at.
You destroyed many of those
bone
weird
snakes.
bone snake creatures.
Yeah,
Matt,
also for heroism's sake, obviously, but
yeah.
that he saw it doesn't hurt.
Ratch, proving to others that you're not a monster. Do you feel like you did that? You definitely stood up for somebody.
Yeah, I think that and helping young Tom out was a good,
Yeah.
Like he could have freaked out, but I wound up.
The friendly little animal kiss was heartwarming.
Yeah.
So I feel like In White Raven, I did not look at your drive, so I may have interfered inadvertently with it, but kill something that was nearly dead anyway. Do you feel like you accomplished that?
Well, I was originally looking at old Tom as something that was nearly dead, but
right.
I mean, I don't know. With the undead theme here, I don't know if an undead imp is nearly dead in that it's kind of undead, but
right.
I don't know. I'm kind of struggling on how I want to interpret the nearly dead.
Right. I think you also you certainly were part of destroying those hands. We're certainly dead. Whatever was creeping up and clutching at old Tom. I would say yes.
Yeah.
I'll also say, like, before we sort of like any flag or drive that you feel is just not getting you what you want, or you've already I've played with that and it was fun, but I want to move on. Don't feel like somebody's looking over your shoulder to make sure you stick with them. Like, one session, you may want to emphasize something different about your character with a different drive or a different flag after that. So feel free to do that. And then I think we have the basic questions, which I may already know the answer to. Did you learn something new and important about the world?
I feel like it's pretty hard not to do that in the first session.
Okay, yeah. True. Did you overcome a notable enemy?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The last one I already know the answer to is no, because I'm terrible at giving out treasure. But did you loot a memorable treasure? Sorry. All right, so that's anyone want to jump in with any other end of session specific move items? If not, I'm going to end the broadcast.